Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to King Win for Charity Event, Winter Edition 2015 with me, Monk. We've been casting a few games since the beginning. We've gotten to the round of 8 already. We've casted a match here between Amaz and Neria, which Neria ended up winning 3-2, so it was pretty close. The end result was at least very interesting. The games were really interesting as far as I'm concerned. The mech mage from Amaz just falling slightly in front of Neria's control warrior, which is not necessarily the outcome you fully expect. I mean, we've seen the same matchup turn out differently earlier with Mason and Powder. So we're going to be casting Gaara versus Firebat next.
Yeah, just to recap the last match, it just ended up so interestingly in that the mech mage, which is typically an aggro deck, somehow turned into kind of like a combo deck with the Archmage Antonidas and two finicky cloak fields. He just kept getting fireballs and fireballs, but Neria was just barely able to scrape it through with a warrior that had to be aggro, had to be the aggro player against the new combo mech mage.
Yeah, it's like those late stages where the mage is able to get a stealthed Archmage Antonidas through spare parts, forces the warrior to go aggressive because being defensive is useless. I mean, if you play it passively, you're just gonna get fireballed until you die. And so Neria just turned the gears around and went full aggressive, which paid off, and he ended up winning the game. It was kind of a cool match to watch, though. I think double Sludge Belcher was a big deal because it stopped, the extra 5 damage from Archmage from going through twice in a row. I think that really helped him out.
Yeah, exactly.
So the decks from the two next players, just Gaara versus Firebat. Gaara, which was one of the few players to even bring Shaman, and I think the only player with Shaman to move on. I think Hosty also brought Shaman and moved on to the round of 8. Unless I'm mistaken. So Hosty and Gaara, the only two players that moved on with Shaman, and he actually had a really nice run with his Shaman last time we saw him play it.
Yeah, Shaman, not a class we see these days, but Gaara, of course, his nickname is Gaara Best Shaman, so of course we expect him to live up to his name, bring Shaman, and be the best at it, I guess.
Yeah, and he did it pretty well last time. So Gaara brought Druid, Hunter, Mage, and Shaman, and Firebat Hunter, Druid, Mage, and Paladin. And Gaara banned Firebat's Hunter, and Firebat, in response, banned Gaara's Druid. Which I feel is kind of weird because most people tend to ban Hunter, and Firebat doesn't seem to be afraid of it. So we're going to see how exactly that ends up working out for him in the games to come. The first match is going to be between Druid and Mage.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what kind of mage Gaara is running, but judging from the opening hand, I'm thinking maybe Fatigue Mage is my best guess.
Fatigue Mage or something like a mid-range. You remember the old Hyped Mage? Something along those lines would not be too far-fetched.
By the way, we see Firebat's opening hand, and I'm reminded that he's running like a Death Rattle Druid, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't ban Hunter, unlike a lot of players. I feel like Druid typically is regarded as weak to Hunter, but this specific type of Druid can contest for board control quite well with the Undertakers and also with Innervates as well.
Yeah, and they've got the Wrath as removal that Hunters just don't have access to outside of Eagle Hornbow. So in a way, I guess, yeah, you're definitely right there. And the Gaara is going to have to deal with an Undertaker very early in the game. And the last thing you want to do against a Druid with Undertakers is give them card draw with Cold Recall.
Yeah, this definitely looks to be a Fatigue Mage from Gaara, by the way. But unfortunately for him, he has 2 Polymorphs and Cold Light Oracle in his open hand. Not things you typically want against a Death Rattle Druid.
Yeah, although we've had the announcement that Undertaker was about to be nerfed, it turns out it's not nerfed right now. And so this Undertaker is able to gain health off of the Death Rattle minions that are played, which means, as a result, that Gaara's ability to kill it is going to be heavily dependent upon him drawing something else. I mean, you can't possibly like the idea of having to polymorph an Undertaker.
Well, sometimes it might just be your best option, as we see double Undertaker come onto the field, and then a Wrath to clear this acidic Swamp Ooze. Undertaker and Druid, who knew?
Yeah, and I like the addition of the acidic Swamp Ooze here in the male mage. Like, I didn't comment on it when the Druid, but it really does help mitigate some of the damage output that classes are able to put. Because one of the strengths that is of this type of mage is its ability to mix freeze and add a win condition to it. In a way, and the addition of Ooze removes a lot of the damage output that Hunters get with Eagle Hornbow very, very easily.
Yeah, it's not acidic swampu is traditionally isn't in the list that Savitz or Kalento run, and they're probably the two most popular fatigue mage players, or the two most famous fatigue mage players.
Yeah.
But it is in the list of Freshka, who is the original inventor of this deck. Freshka has been experimenting with fatigue mage probably more than anyone in the world, and he has acidic swampus and he has ice barrier actually instead of ice block in his deck. So I'm curious to see what changes Gaara made to Freshka's original list.
Yeah, and it turns out Undertaker is proving to be the value MVP again as it's getting polymorphed. We get to see just how insane Undertaker is as a card when you consider the fact that it's getting... It manages as a card to take a spell that costs 4 mana just to negate that one card. It's pretty incredible.
Wow, ice barrier indeed. And what that tells me is that this probably is Freshka's version almost exactly.
Yeah, Icebear has been seen in quite a few lists, but not systematically. I think past this point, Gaara might be able to turn the tides around with the double Blizzard, at least to stabilize. But you have to look at the hand of Firebat right now, which has the Ancient of Lore for card draw, and I think he's running double combo in his deck.
Yeah, with this kind of deck, I think double combo is fair. Yeah. Gaara just hasn't drawn his real early game yet. He needs that the Death Lord, and he needs the Explosive Sheeps really to clear this kind of board.
Yeah, he's definitely running Explosive Sheeps. It makes too much sense not to run. And now he's gonna have to Blizzard. There is no way he doesn't. He probably feels lucky enough that no Savage Roar is sprung on him yet, but even if he gets another Blizzard next turn, like look at the current board state.
Dr. Boom.
Oh, you know what? You can't even Blizzard this. Because you're just gonna take damage. Oh, this is so bad. You break the Harvest Golems, the Shredder. You just get everything you don't want to see.
Well, there's the Death Lord in about 4 turns too late.
Yeah, I think you have to play Sludge and ping the Undertaker and hope for the best. And now, what about that Kel'Thuzad? I mean,
it's not gonna come down yet, but when it does come down, I expect a lot of tears to be shed from Gaara.
yeah, it's gonna be like at least next turn, but okay. So as Firebat here, do you play around another AOE? If you do, then you're going to use Swipe as a removal piece, right? Or you're just gonna play Ancient of Lore and pass?
Yeah, I think you're just gonna play Dr. Boom. Actually, it's just the strongest play you can have on turn 7.
But you're not breaking your minions against the Sludge Belcher then?
No, I think you are still breaking it against the Sludge Belcher. Oh wow!
Oh wow!
That is amazing.
Wow.
That is the best 2-drop you could have hoped for, I think.
There is not. Maybe Bluegill Warrior would have come close.
Oh.
Maybe Bluegill Warrior and Knife Juggler were the only 2-drops that really made this shine more than it already is shining. At least Blizzard. Oh no, Blizzard doesn't do. He's dead.
Blizzard Blizzard just might kill you.
Yeah, I mean this is over. This is over. He needs to find Frost Nova. I don't even know.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. This is.
Yeah, you're not dead yet. But I see very little hope for Gaara at this point.
And Kel'Thuzad, just because.
Why not?
If he top decks Fireball, he can polymorph KT and then Fireball the duplicate. Yeah, that's not going
or
to
like
cut it.
Polymorph BGH. But yeah, there just was way too much pressure coming from the Druid this game.
I mean, the double Undertaker start was rough enough. I mean, he had double Harvest Golem, double Undertaker. Harvest Golem is very strong because it's sticky and you have to spend a lot of effort just trying to remove that one card. And it's been a staple of the metagame for pretty long right now. So it's no surprise it's been that effective. I just don't see how Gaara is supposed to stabilize against this. There's a Swipe in Firebat's hand. Any Force of Nature top deck is lethal. Savage Roar is lethal as well with Swipe.
Yeah, and the Death Lord, even though it has 8 health, they can just get challenged so easily by the Dr.
Exactly.
Boom.
Alright, so we'll see whether or not Gaara manages to stabilize. But even if he does stabilize, let's assume he does. How do you end up winning? Like, what is your win condition right now? Because drawing cards kills you faster than anything else.
Yeah, that Bluegill Warrior, or the Cold Light Oracle, rather. Sorry, we're just talking about Bluegill Warriors. The Cold Light Oracle, like, if you play it, you're just pretty much speeding up your own death.
Yeah. All right, so at least Gaara was trying to set up an explosive sheep by pinging Dr. Boom last turn. But if he swipes face, Firebat could get, I mean, near lethal at this point. You swipe face and then you don't even have to. You can just, it doesn't even matter what he plays, honestly. And he could BGH his own Dr. Boom and still win.
Ancient of Lore, sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, he could just, yeah.
Well, honestly, technically, that might be like one of the worst draws in his deck because it doesn't allow you to like use it later on and for the card draw. But at this point, it doesn't really matter.
All right, so we are looking at absolutely nothing.
Well, you can Flame Strike, ping, and then hope like
Doomsayer
nothing.
came out.
Yeah, Doomsayer comes out of the.
Okay.
You can just. Flame
Nat
Strike,
Bagel,
and
Laura
hope for
Walker's
Doomsayer.
show. Yeah.
We saw, I believe, Hosty make a mistake in a previous round where he kind of conceded without testing for Doomsayer. Like his opponent had a full board, and he had a piloted Shredder, and if he attacked with a weapon into Doomsayer, he could have cleared the board.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's pretty
GG.
bad one.
Yeah, we saw, I think a lot of players make that mistake because it's so uncommon and, unlikely that you don't even try. But it's at least worth giving a shot because the moment you get it, sometimes it'll win you games that you didn't think about. Even those 0.1% chance games have to be taken. So Gaara falls down, and arguably though, let's be honest, this is one of the worst matchups. Double combo against Male Mage. Does it get much worse than this? I mean, with a start like this, especially with Undertakers.
Well, we're not even sure that it runs double combo. Like we haven't seen a single piece of the combo in this game, so it might be single combo. We're not sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past a deck like this though to be running double combo. It makes, as you said, a lot of sense. So Gaara loses with his mage deck, which is going to give him a little bit of trouble against something like the Firebat's Paladin, who's probably going to be playing something a little on the slow end, and maybe even Firebat's mage deck, which might be a little slow, which you can abuse heavily with Mill Mage. You can usually win those freeze mage against Mill Mage matchups.
Yeah, I think Gaara, one of the reasons that actually I'm not even sure, like this matchup between freeze mage and Mill Mage, I mean, one of them has a lot of burn, but the other one has a lot of healing. So I'm not really sure like which one even has the advantage there.
I think Mill Mage wins a lot. I mean, from what I've seen and played, I think Mill Mage has a pretty good edge because it tends not to overextend too heavily, and it has very small minions on the board, and the freeze mage just has so many dead cards because the removal is mostly useless. So
well, maybe let's stop talking about Mill Mage versus freeze mage for a second. Let's focus on Hunter versus Druid.
Hunter wins, but I mean, then again, this version...
It's Undertaker Druid. I feel like Undertaker Druid is like pretty much the best you could hope for. But that's not the hand you could hope for, that you want.
But he's got the Harvest Golem with the Innervate, so that's going to give him the ability to contest anything from Undertakers to Leper Gnomes to just about anything he sees. But right now, I mean, the hand of Firebat is going to... It's so dry. It is one of the weakest hands he could have for this early spot in the game.
By the way, there's a Ragnaros in Gaara's hand.
Yeah, definitely a slower mid-range hunter.
That's such a Gaara move. Like, it's such a Gaara card to include. Like, he just includes these random cards that no one else thinks of, but it just happens to work out with him in tournaments. Like, in the very end of 2015, he won so many tournaments because of these weird inclusions.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, people keep a BGH for the Dr. Boom, but after that point, they say, you know what, I'm safe, I can drop. If they play a second one, they'll drop it naked on the board, or they'll use it very fast on Dr. Boom and forsake the idea that you might even be considering running Rag in your Hunter deck. So that'll give them a little bit of a surprise when you drop an 8/8 as a Hunter. So you're putting them not only on the clock with your hero power, but also with your, biggest threat possible.
I think Life Coach said it best when at DreamHack, people asked him, why did you put Ragnaros in Miracle Druid? And he was like, well, any deck that really wants to go for face, I just put Ragnaros in it because worst case scenario, it goes for face and you did 8 damage.
Yeah, pretty much. No, that's a really good way to look at it, basically. It speeds up the
Alright.
clock, but I mean, Rexar's life total is pretty low right now. I mean, if Firebat just holds on, well, holds on.
It's actually really funny. Like, if there's no taunt from Gaara, then
Yeah.
Firebat will just win because
On
The
Innervate
harvest-
or just, yeah.
yeah, the Harvest Golem did like 10 or 14 damage to Gaara.
Yeah, between the bow hits and the attacks, that was a total of about, yeah, 12 to 14. If he's running Explosive Trap, though, and he
Oh.
plays it on the right turn,
However, not bad.
yeah. I mean, Gaara has to turn on the aggressive gears here, but... Sylvanas and Hunter as well. Do you...
Could there be like feigned death in this Hunter? I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
sure.
what I'm looking at. That's what I'm thinking about right now. Alright, the swipe play here from Firebat, which makes a lot of sense. Almost too much.
And the swipe not only clears most of the board, but it also brings Gaara to the magic 14 number.
Yep, which is exactly the damage that Force of Nature Savage Roar deals.
Gaara does have a Mad Scientist on the field, though, and he has a Freezing Trap in hand, so... if Gaara also runs Explosive Trap, then pretty much Force of Nature will be blocked. And if he runs the Freezing Trap, at least 4 damage of the Force of Nature combo will be blocked off.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like there's very little reason for Firebat to hope for anything but a Force of Nature kill here. I feel like that is the best play. I mean, you could kill the Mad Scientist, attack face, and try to check for Explosive Trap. If it is, you'll have triggered it. And if it's not Explosive Trap and it turns out to be freezing, then you'll have dealt an extra 1 damage, which should put you in the lethal range soon.
Yeah, this is a kind of a strange scenario for Firebat. He had to trade the Haunted Creeper off into the Mad Scientist, but now he like puts a trap on. He gives his opponent a trap basically,
Yeah.
and you don't really want to do that against.
It's not
a
freezing,
Hunter.
by the way.
If it's explosive, that'll be. That actually
If it's
won't be that bad.
explosive, he'll have to attack with a weapon, though, because the way that this goes is that he has to use Sylvanas on the 5/5 and then attack a 1/1 to delay the combo a little bit.
Yeah, it's so funny. He has to start playing around the combo.
Yeah, what is that, though? I mean, he didn't kill the 5/5, so that's not Snake Trap? It's not Misdirection? No. No. No, Gaara, you didn't. There's no way. It has to be Snake, come on.
I'm so confused. I think it is.
Okay, it's Snake, okay. I was so confused. You have no idea.
Well, let's see what Firebat does from here on out, because he basically needs to
Win.
survive this turn.
Yeah, but then he wins.
Well, he needs to. Well, if his opponent plays Freezing Trap, he might not win. If he keepers to the face and then Hero Powers face,
And that's
That-
guaranteed lethal. Yeah, unless Houndmaster comes out. Maybe Firebat
Yeah.
has seen too much of those Houndmasters nowadays in Hunter. That he's getting a little bit worried, but he's going to have, at the moment, based on what we see, at least one more minion.
but yeah, this because his board is so sticky now, Freezing Trap might not matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good idea to clear these 1/1s because these 1/1s may help clear your creeper on this turn.
Oh, the Sludge Belcher are going to be quite helpful here. You Sludge, you can kill command the 2/4. I mean, attack with the 6/5 into the 2/4, and then maybe just let the creeper pop itself.
Yeah, this looks pretty
Wow.
good, but Firebat does have the Black Knight in his hand and a Keeper of the Grove.
Yeah, that's going to change things quite a bit.
I think you probably Black Knight here.
Yeah, Black Knight, and well, you have to try to kill the 1/2 slime, but you won't be able to. But at least you'll have removed the possibility of a. I mean, it's so unfortunate the way that as soon as you're on 14 health as any class against a druid, you're like, okay, you know what? Full on defensive gears enabled, and anytime a sticky minions comes up, you're just so worried about it, just by virtue of knowing that anytime you lose a taunt, you're dead.
I think you Black Knight and you actually might
Don't
not,
attack?
Yeah, don't attack. Because if you attack, then
Well, you
can't
remove the
replay
trap.
it.
Yeah, but then you
Oh,
can
yeah.
just force an Nature Savage Roar, and well, you won't hit for lethal. You could just silence off the Honestly, you just sound off the sludge and test for freezing, then win. Right? Yeah, there it is. So the game is over.
Yeah, this is pretty good. He can replay the creeper right now because he used the keeper instead of the Black Knight, which was 4 mana instead of 6.
Yeah, and like there's no threat of lethal on the hunter's board here. Not even close to a threat of lethal.
This was a very weird game. Firebat had Force of Nature, Savage Roar in his opening hand, but still, the
Innervate Harvest Golem was a massive play, and it really depended on Gaara. I mean, it would have been a bit weaker if Gaara had his own, good start, but that wasn't the case. So he was able to take the initiative off of a 2-3 on turn 1 for about 4 or 5 turns in a row. Gaara didn't have an answer until Eagle Hornbow, which took forever to get out.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what Gaara is gonna do right now because there's no way for him to play around the combo.
The combo, yeah. And he knows it, but he's gonna have to try at least. He's gonna kill the 2-4, pop the spider, kill the 2-1-1s. And I hope for the best for the Ragnaros.
We said how this was such a Gaara deck, but with the Ragnaros and Sylvanas and Hunter. But at the same time, like this Druid deck that Firebat is bringing is such a Firebat deck because it's like kind of standard. But at the same time, it's kind of just a new concept altogether that no one else has really tried, and it's bringing him tournaments.
Yeah, there have been a lot of, attempts at making Druid very aggressive, something like Ebola Druid, they call it, which is basically echoing Ooze, like hyper-token oriented, but nothing like this mid-range approach. Because it's, like, despite the fact that it's running Undertaker, it's still not as fast as other Druids have attempted to be made. It's not even trying to get, those viral teachers out, it's just straight up value minions, the same old tempo Druid, the very honest Druid approach with the double combo. Well, I don't know about double combo because we haven't seen a second one, but I have to at least assume double Savage Roar, which would make a lot of sense. So it's really, really nice deck here from Firebat.
Yeah. Gaara's last deck will actually be his Shaman, and he's going to have to prove that he is indeed the best Shaman in the next game.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky, but I mean, if you can get good Lightning Storms or Earth Shocks on 100 Creepers, that can turn the game around. I mean, he knows by now what Firebat's deck is, so he'll know to keep those, Undertaker removal pieces. A lot of the time, you might just throw away removal for early minion creatures against minions, that is, against Druids, but in this case, he'll want to keep them. He'll want to treat it like it's a Hunter, basically.
Yeah, and then I think Druid is, I think one reason Firebat might have decided to bring this deck is that he's like, wow, Hunter is really good right now, but if I make Druid basically like a second Hunter deck, then I'll just have 2 Hunter decks.
Yeah, and then I'll win because, hey, that's just the way the Undertaker synergy works. And between Innervates and the Savage Wars, I mean, he has just as much reach as a Hunter. As far as, snowballing effects, it's pretty cool. I really like the approach.
All right, game 3 is about to begin. Will Firebat take the series out 3-0, or will Gaara stand a chance of a comeback with his Gaara best Shaman deck?
All right, so the hand from Gaara here, Harrison Jones, dead card against, in this matchup, double Savage Roar from Firebat, so we at least know that he's got that. If not the double combo, then at least double Roar.
Yeah, there's 2 Annoyatrons in Gaara's hand right now, but I feel like in every way they're just worse than... for this purpose, they're just worse than Haunted Creepers. You're pretty much only playing the Annoyatrons for the
Power
for the mech synergy, I guess.
Yeah, and it still works with the what's it called, healing totem in a little bit of a way against Druid. It's not that bad.
Yeah, but they're just generally not as sticky as Haunted Creepers. All right, wow, we're gonna see full on aggro mode.
Yeah, he's going to force his opponent to have the Wraths here.
I think this decision was mostly based on the fact that he also had a second Annoyatron, so he could protect his Flame Tongue Totem in the next turn.
But this is not going to work out.
Savage Roar, pretty perfect card.
It's the ideal card for this situation, and also at least now Gaara has to be a little less worried about it. For the future, but he still knows that a lot of the deck that Firebat built is such a telegraph of, hey, I'm running double Savage Roar, so it doesn't really matter. Firebat is still, perfectly curving here. Turn 4 Shredder, turn 5 Sludge, turn 6 Ancient of Lore. Everything is lining up perfectly.
Well, there's also Innervate, so...
Yeah, you can just sprinkle a Haunted Creeper at the end of one of those turns.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like,
Sounds
hey,
about
whatever,
right.
man. Like, whatever, man. I got a creeper. It doesn't matter. You probably play it later than early. That way you can secure a really heavy Savage Roar play. But yeah, definitely a very powerful turn.
There's just so many choices in Firebat's hand right now.
Yeah, I like them all.
I
Do
think
you
at
just
this,
innervate coin sludge or innervate
at this point,
treasure?
I think he's thinking like, what is my opponent's next turn, and what minions do I need on the field for this turn, in order to best contest that. He goes with the most aggressive option possible. Actually, the piloted shredder plus the haunted creeper is probably the most power and the most stickiness on the board. that he could
I think it plays well around Lightning Storm as well. So it's really definitely the most aggressive play, and he's got the combo in hand already. So all he's got to wait for is the same thing as last game. Is wait until he gets enough sticky minions on the board. But then again, a really good Lightning Storm from Gaara would just turn this game around completely.
Oh man, Firebat didn't check for Doomsayer.
Uh-oh.
Well, actually, Firebat made a misplay there. If he gotten the the knife juggler, he could have potentially killed this sludge belcher off.
Sludge Belcher, yeah. Now, this is the kind of stuff he'll remember for next game. Knowing Firebat, he never forgets about stuff like this.
So he's like an elephant.
Yes, Monk. He is an elephant. Firebat's an elephant. All right, so now that that's out of the way, and we know Firebat's secret allegiance to pachyderms, we can now move on to the game. Where were we? Elephants, right?
Nimsh level jokes, right?
Oh, Dr. Boom here for Gaara. Wait, is this?
Wait.
Look at this. Coin, innervate, force of nature, savage roar, trigger, knife juggler, pop the creeper, just go full retard mode. Is that a thing?
I mean, there's no other way you can get more minions on the board. This is probably the most minions you could possibly have.
Yeah, and you curve into
for this
ancient
play.
lore afterwards, right?
Mhm.
So it feels almost perfect. Keyword almost.
Oh, is he still gonna go for lore?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously more consistent, but
That was disappointing.
yeah, it was the most fun play to just go all out on the juggler, but definitely not a consistent play. All right, so he's going for the safe play, which I can't really blame him for.
I was a little disappointed there, to be honest.
Do you even
Sorry.
bother killing like the mana tide at any point here? Because all you have to do is have minions on the board and try to reach for that innervate force of nature roar.
I
And
think in
game
this
is over.
specific scenario, you don't need to. Like generally, you want to keep the shaman board as clean as possible, but
Wait, what?
It's not necessary in this case. What? Is he gonna make it?
He's playing around Storm. Okay, he says, you know what? I don't need to win next turn. I can win 2 turns from now in a much more consistent manner.
Well, this kind of this basically says he can play some of a longer game because he had the option to just end the game right here and now if without clearing the mana tide if he kept the innervate and he could innervate force of nature savage roar. So just overall a more consistent game plan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's less all-in than the the knife juggler, force of nature, savage roar, and it's even less all-in than trying to win outright with the innervate play on the following turn. I mean, he's got BGH for Dr. Boom as well, so
Yeah, why not?
yeah. Let's see where that 1/1 goes if they attack the boom bots.
I think you could just go straight for face.
Yeah, because you put him exactly on 14 after this turn, right? Well, now 13, so
I think that was actually kind of lucky that he went for his juggles all went for face rather than
instead of popping the bots,
for
right?
bots. So one of the rare circumstances where you actually want juggles to go for face, and this knife juggler is actually doing so much work.
If a lightning storm is top deck, this could be a different outcome, but there's no lightning storm because lightning storm plus the boom bots plus the anti-heal bot might have saved him. But in this case, it's just not going to do anything at all. Wow, what a whiff.
Yeah, this is looking pretty over. Guard like is smiling a bit. He's like, what? How did I lose this? Thinking like Death Rattle Druid.
Yeah, how did I lose to Death Rattle Druid? Well, it's Firebat, so I think, yeah, I don't even know. I mean, there's nothing to do to win. It's pretty obvious.
Mhm.
So do we have to assume that Firebat is running double combo? I mean, it seems like it would be very strong in his deck, but
Yeah, there just might not be a second force of nature.
force of nature. He's got enough stickiness on the board that he doesn't need the immediate 3 bodies, because he's always almost guaranteed to have at least 2 already there.
Yep, and that is indeed the finishing blow. Firebat kind of going for a little BM there, like going for exact lethal instead of just throwing all his minions in.
Yeah, calculating everything and going for exact lethal is now the definition of BM. Monk defined it as such. And he would have gone full BM. I mean, this is a pretty low BM. It reminds me of that BlizzCon BM meter, right? They just didn't use it enough.
I was exactly thinking of that. I think the fact that players were on such a big stage, like they probably didn't want to give off like a BM impression. We've seen some careers like being downgraded a bit because of over-the-top BM, you know.
Yeah, it's happened. A lot of people are like, "Oh my god, this guy's an asshole. We can't actually have this guy play games and support him." So this is 3-0 for Firebat's Druid, I believe.
It is. Wow.
That was
did not really expect that.
Completely like a steamroll, complete steamroll here from Firebat. Playing a really solid Druid deck. I really like the way he built his deck in a way that, as you said, reminds us of Hunters and is simply played in a different class that abuses different mechanics to create a snowball effect, between innervates and the instant kill. They're like, you could consider the Savage Roar the kill commands of Druids, and that's pretty much the equivalent we see here.
Yeah, probably even a better version of Kill Command, because on average, Kill Command is 3 mana for 5, but on average, Savage Roar is like 3 mana for like 12 damage or something ridiculous.
Yep, so we'll be back. We're going to be going for a quick break, and then we'll be showing off Colento versus Hosty. So we'll be right back in a 10-minute break. Don't go anywhere.